We'll answer questions at the end, but this is going to be Nick's show. So Nick, take it away.
Awesome. Hey, folks. My name is Nick Marchese. I'll introduce myself more here in a second. I have a tight 30 minutes for us today. So I'm going to make sure that I go quick through my stuff. That way I leave time for questions. So if you do have questions throughout, throw them in the chat or the Q&A, and Troy will monitor those, and we'll circle back to those at the end. But I'm going to talk fast, and we're going to go ahead and have a few minutes to chit-chat at the end. All right, so welcome to Break Free from Manual Data Exports using Razor's Edge and Financial Edge Query API. So here's our quick agenda, a little bit about me and background, what my goal was here, talk a little bit about Query API, and then a little bit of a proof in the pudding. So a little bit about me. My name is Nick Marchese. I'm the Director of Academic and Strategic Tech at the Emma Willard School in Troy, New York. And I'm also the founder of Collar City Consulting, focusing on automations and solutions for organizations all around the country. So a little bit of background about myself. If you've been to either of my Dev Days sessions the last 2 years, I was able to share some things that I've worked on when it comes to syncing your school data out with advanced lists and Sky API and Google Apps Script. That was a really fun session that I did last 2 years and got a lot of great feedback from. So I'm here to share a little bit more about the ways that I've been able to kind of leverage that experience and go beyond. So I talked through this slide a couple of years ago, a little bit about like why use Sky API versus not when it comes to manually filling out data exports. And we'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, how it relates to RE and FE today. But basically, the biggest advantage here is keeping your data up to date rather than manually pulling it out. And all of a sudden, it's out of date as soon as you pull it out because somebody's going to make a change. So here are some examples that I shared from that last session. Again, just to level set and give people some background of being able to pull out advanced list data directly into Google Sheets using Sky API. So that way you can go ahead and do whatever you want with it once it's in Sheets. That's up to you. But being able to kind of show off a little bit of what some things that can be happening. And I did a session yesterday and another one today where we're sharing a little bit about some of the great ways people are using that. So be on the lookout for those. So the current reach of that script and solution. So I have over 50 schools actively using this and lots of other school connections that have been able to come out of it, which is really fun and exciting. All right, so my goal. All right, I got through that in 2 minutes. I think I'm going to do all right. So my goal. So starting here with Google Apps Script and Sky API, and last 2 years really focusing on education management, advanced lists, schedules, rosters, and much more. But trying to find ways to branch out and challenge myself to find out other ways I can do things. So looking into Razor's Edge and Financial Edge's query and enrollment management with student checklists, and then whatever is going to come next. There's lots of ways to connect with Sky API to automate your solutions. But these are some of the next steps and my goal to challenge myself to learn something new and try and serve others in different ways. So enter the Query API, which was new to me when I started this venture and generally newer to the world. I don't know the exact date that came out. I think it's within the last year or two. So here's a quick screenshot of the Query API endpoint reference page on the Blackbaud developer page. There's a couple of different endpoints that we'll talk about, but just to give you a quick glimpse of what that looks like for just the basic get a query by ID. And this returns some information about the query. All right, so how does everything I just said in the last 4 minutes apply to RE or FE? So without Sky API, your insights are limited to the last time that you manually ran your query. Extracting crucial data demands manual effort and dedicated staff time. You'll likely accumulate numerous versions of the same data exports, leading to confusion and potential errors, right? So things like this, GIF report, revise, GIF report final, GIF report sent. Like, which one should you actually be using? Which one is accurate? Who really knows? Probably maybe the person who downloaded them, but not always. So incorporating Sky API in there, right? Your FE and RE data in Sheets is always going to be current and up to date. So you update some constituent information or new GIFs or budgets, that will be reflected automatically within that sheet. You can have an automated data refresh, so that way you're not going and manually pulling things in there. It will automatically come out. If you can just set it and forget it. No dependence on individual workstations for data extraction, and saying goodbye to all those hard drives filled with out-of-date spreadsheets. All right, so in my quest, I found this screenshot from a Dev Days presentation, I believe from last year, which was really fantastic, and it really visualized for me how Query API is meant to work, where you're running the query, you're waiting until it's completed, you need to go ahead and find out when it's completed, because the job status, it's going to be running, right? So a query doesn't happen automatically. It's got to run through. It's got to go ahead and do that stuff. For some of the things, it'll be right away. For some stuff, it'll take longer. And then once it's completed, you got to get the URL to download the data, and then you could pull that data back as a JSON file. So this was really crystallizing my understanding of how this was meant to work. I wanted to kind of distill down what I think are the most important Query API endpoints to make this happen bare bones. The get query gives you information about the query, right? So that's information like the name, the length, who made it, when's the last time it was updated, things like that. The post query execution job, right? That's to start a query to actually go ahead and execute it. So that would be the same as if you went into the UI and you said, okay, I want to click this query, I'm going to hit run, and that starts that query to run. And the get query execution job status. So now it is running in the cloud. It's running essentially asynchronously, and now you need to check when it's done. So this API endpoint will go ahead and return whether or not the query is finished executing. So it'll return that it's still running, and then eventually it'll return that it's completed with a link to the information that you're trying to get. And then another one I just wanted to add here was this get query list, and this would be a way for you to be able to pull out all of the queries that you have access to, or you can go ahead and modify it. There's different parameters you could put in place there. But if you want to go ahead and look at all those in one place versus going into the UI and looking at the system record ID and all that jazz. So I'm building on the support of others who have gone ahead and shared this with me. But I was like, okay, now how can I build this into the solutions that I've built in the past? So here's the data flow of what I've been able to accomplish so far, and I'd love to share with you today. So starting with a query from RE, so creating a query and then capturing what that query ID number is. I believe it's called the system record ID within the system, and inserting it into a sheet or directly into a script that you can make. This is built off of a spreadsheet model that I have created to share with you today. And then again, building off of all those API endpoints that I just said here. So start the query, so initiate it based on the ID number, execute that query, get it started. And then we need to go ahead and check the status. So it's running, and the script has to keep checking whether or not it's been completed. So, and there are some best practices there that Blackbaud puts on their documentation page for that. So I highly recommend digging into that. But again, 30 minutes today, I'm at 10 already. Retrieving the query results. So once it's complete, that's fantastic. Now you can go ahead and retrieve those results, and you can go ahead and ready to process those. So the query results then can be grabbed and populated into a sheet at generally pretty light speed results. And if anybody's used my other solution, you know that events lists run in a totally different way, where a larger events list could take a fair amount more time. Query work does not work that way. It is very different in its architecture. So you can do something a very large query in a very short amount of time. So currently, the ones that are the types of queries that are implemented with Query API are listed there: GIF, constituents, general ledger, and all those other FE ones. And typically, a query automatically takes 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on the size. So I ran something yesterday that had 60,000 rows in under 90 seconds. I ran it again this morning, and it was more like 40 seconds. So it really is much, much faster than how advanced lists are working. So here's just some quick screenshots here to show a little bit of what this could look like. Again, these are just from my test account to show you what this looks like here. So there's a FE example where, again, that's just query information. That would be the same as if you were to dump that spreadsheet out and pull it. Then instead it's just automatically populating into the sheet here. Same thing for RE, there's a quick example. And then there's a little sync sheet with ID numbers that I showed you all a little bit at the top. All right, I'm doing all right. So what's possible? I mean, you all know what's possible once you get this data out of the system, right? You can go ahead and you can build dashboards, you can build reports, you can do comparisons, you can track, whatever you want to do. That's really up to you. That's something for you to figure out what you want to do after the fact with it, or if you want to chat, we can talk about that. But really, my goal here is to show you that like it's possible. You can get the data out. It's a doable thing. I feel like this is the obligatory slide that needs to be on here, this for responsible use, right? So when you're pulling data out of a system like Blackbaud that has very specific permissions in place, you really need to make sure that you have are being really careful with the access. So limit who can view those sensitive data sheets, right? Limit who can actually see this data and be sure that those permissions are maintained. If you're familiar with import range is your friend. So import range gives you the ability to import data from one spreadsheet into another. So that way you can only import the information from one tab into a totally different spreadsheet and give somebody else that delegated access to just the particular filter view of the data, not the raw data. Be careful with your data retention, right? Set up some automatic cleanups of old query results. Maybe you made copies of things that you don't need anymore. You don't want to get back into the bad habit of final 2 or final official 1. Be careful of your quotas. Monitor your query frequency. You don't want to overload your API and then all of a sudden everything breaks. And then document which ones you're going to be keeping track of, right? It's really not too hard to automatically pull in the query name as well. So that's really helpful there. So I want to demo here in a second, but I want to kind of quickly wrap this, and then I'm going to show you a quick demo. So some options to get started, right? Start with the existing queries that you have. The query API documentation is really decent at trying to go ahead and get started. And again, having that slide, those 2 slides there that kind of walk you through the flow chart, and then diving into the developer group. I also have a pre-built solution that I'm going to demo here really quickly. And if anybody's interested and wants to scan the QR at any point or reach out, I'd love to talk you through that and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to do a quick jump over to a different tab here and show you what this could look like. We're also in a new tab. Great. So here's my other tab. So I have, again, I just made a couple different rows here, or a couple different columns: ID number, the product, and these are all little drop downs where I can go ahead and pick which module it is. And then all I got to do is put in the ID number, the product, and the module, and it's automatically going to run in the background and pull my data into this spreadsheet. And I could tell you that this one, which was 11,000 rows, when I just ran it right before you all got here, this took 30 seconds to pull this data in. And all you would have to do is say, I'm going to go ahead and put in 719. I'm going to put in FE, and I'm going to pick general ledger. I'm going to go ahead and begin syncing again, or usually it'll go on it's automatic schedule, so it'll run on its own. But this will go ahead and run this query information for you in the background, and it'll populate the data in there. So I'm going to let this run for a second while I'm sitting here and filibustering. But you can see that it's running in the background. It's saying, okay, 718 I know is a larger query, so that's going to take 20 seconds to go ahead and populate all that data in. and then it will pull in 719 and add that here for us. And I see there's a lot of stuff in the chat I promise I'll get to in a second, and I will see what that looks like. All right, so let me switch back over here. Okay, and okay, I'm going to leave this slide up, and then just so that way folks have my information. If you're interested in getting started, you can email me there at nick@colorcityconsulting.com, or my website's there. Or if you have your phone available and you just want to scan that QR, it basically brings you to an interest form, and we can go ahead and I'll reach out after our sessions. I've got a long day of EV Dev Day sessions today, but would love to hear from anybody. Okay, 15 minutes. That feels really great. Troy, how'd I do with how are we doing?
You're doing great. I mean, most of the questions are, I want these slides. I want these slides. I got to have these slides.
Troy, I mean, the sessions are going to be recorded and put on YouTube. Yes.
Yes.
So, so I know that will be available. But if anybody's interested in, I can't easily dump the slides into the docs tab while we're on the session, and there's some speaker notes and stuff that I would want to sanitize before sharing this out. So if folks are interested in getting the slides, please just shoot me an email, and I will happily share those with you. Otherwise, you can wait for the YouTube recording to come on in, I don't know, 1 to 2 weeks. I'm not really sure how long it takes the back end to happen, but please just shoot me an email at the email listed there, and I will happily share the slides with you. Because again, nothing I am showing off here is something that I didn't already find in the reference. So I'm happy to share.
Can you make your QR code a little bit bigger? Someone's having a hard time getting it or shooting it.
Let's see.
And then somebody wants to know how long did it take you to build that spreadsheet?
I assume that you mean with the script on the back end of it as well. The spreadsheet doesn't take long at all. I mean, the spreadsheet is just a couple of columns. I mean, that took an hour. But the script that makes it all run is the thing that that took a bit more time. I don't know if I can make this QR larger. I'm trying to see, zooming in on slides is like not really working. But the form is also at the website. So if you want to just go to the website, it will also, the form is also right on the website there. All right. What other questions? I can slide back if I need to.
No, that's it. I mean, that's really it. Unless if I miss something, anybody, please type it back in. But I think that's most of the questions.
I wanted to go fast, so that way we had time to chat. Oh, I zoomed all the way, scrolled all the way up, and all the GIFs are still there.
I think that most of it's just a high demand.
Awesome.
There's a question about your Google Sheets. Please explain.
Yeah. So, okay, great. So I'll try and go through these. So this is a Google Sheet that is what is referencing the data here. So let me go back here, right? So this is a Google Sheet, and what's running in the background is a Google Apps Script file. So if you're not familiar with Google Apps Script, I'm doing a session later today on getting started with Google Apps Script. And Google Apps Script is essentially a JavaScript type language is built into Google Workspace, and where you can directly integrate with Google Sheets files or Google Docs, and you can make external API calls as well. So this is, so the spreadsheet is, I don't want to say the spreadsheet is magical, the script that's under it is magical, and when they work together. Okay.
What automatic schedule do you use?
So AppScript has automatic triggers that you can enable. So I have some automatic triggers on by default. Those are set to an hour, but they're easily changeable. It's just mostly about worrying about your quotas. But AppScript has triggers built in for scheduling.
How do you manage dupes?
Where are we? Sorry.
From Jessica, she's wondering how you handle duplicates.
So within this sheet, the script is automatically, I don't know if this is what you're referencing, is automatically checking if the tab exists for that query ID number. And if it does, that's where it sends the data, and it doesn't create a new tab. And if it doesn't already exist, like 719 didn't when we started the session, and now it does, it will go ahead and create it and add it there.
Perfect. And someone's asking, do you have to use Google Sheets? Can you use Excel or something like that?
Yeah, great question. I have not found a great way to integrate the AppScript stuff with Excel or SharePoint yet, but if you're willing to go on the journey with me, please reach out. Let me see what else we have.
Last questions regarding the actual script. Are there templates for the code?
Yes. So I don't have templates available today. I think the biggest thing that, let me scroll back. The biggest thing I would want to make sure that you are keeping an eye on is that these endpoints are definitely the most valuable endpoints in this process. Specifically, the two execution ones, because they're the ones who are really doing all the heavy lifting. Those are not specific to Google AppScript, and AppScript is its own language where it takes a little bit of learning to understand how authorization works and tokens and all that good fun stuff. Again, I'm running a beginner's guide to AppScript and Sky API later today, so I would love for you to join me there, and I'm happy to go a little bit more into some code example detail, but I don't have code examples for this to share today.
And then Jessica clarified her question on dupes. She's saying she meant duplicates in the output of the query.
Yeah, so this is just straight up pulling what's in the query. So it's not doing, it's the same as if you were to hit run and you would download an Excel file. So you're going to get the same results. So there's no other specific work happening there. That being said, once it's in Sheets, it's also pretty easily doable to go ahead and manipulate, and be careful, focus on tools that look for duplicates, duplicate rows, right? You could add on some other layers there as well. Thank you for throwing the QR link in there. I appreciate it. Let's see. If I didn't answer anybody's, okay, is the script specifically tied to this sheet alone? The one I just demoed, yes. I'm in the final stages of making this an add-on version. So that way it's pretty easy to tie it to any sheet. So if you're interested in that or something similar, Aaron, please reach out. Again, I'm going to send this. I'm going to jump back over to my last slide here, so that way people keep having the contact information. Please reach out so that way we can go ahead and work on that together. All right. If I'm trying to keep an eye on all these pieces. If I did not answer your question, please type it in again, so that way it comes to the bottom. Does it follow query options that have been set? Yes, I believe it. The query options. So you can add any query options when you're running the query. So I don't know if it'll automatically add the query options that you have set in the UI, or you have to add them yourself within the script. Mostly because I'm seeing there's some documentation that talks about how to add options when you're executing it. So I think that would be something worth looking into. All right,
I think we're caught up unless I missed something too. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly scroll back because we have a few minutes still here. Please read. All right, and again, yep, thank you for all the QR help. I'll make it bigger for my other sessions.
New question at the very bottom from Jen.
Yes. Let's see. There are fields that you cannot get in queries, so you have to use export to get those. This will allow you to get those fields. Oh, no worries for coming in late, Jen. Great question. That's not something I have dug into myself. So that would be something I'd have to dig in on. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Thank you, Jen. There's a lot. So the other thing to note here, folks, is that the Sky API is very diverse. We're talking specifically about the query API here. But there are many other API endpoints available in all the different products, and I know that they're constantly being built out. So just because it might not have been demoed here today doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It might mean that it doesn't exist, but it doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't exist. So that's something there. If you know where to look, you can kind of dig for those. If you don't know where to look and you want to reach out, I'm happy to do the digging for you and see if we can find a solution. It seems like there's some other great folks who are going to go ahead and are sharing some Power Automate options as well.
Yeah, love the community. Very good, guys.
Love it. Yeah. And yeah, I like highly recommend joining the Sky API developer community groups if you're not a part of that already. Those are really fantastic. Sorry, I'm over here just looking at my chat. That's why I'm looking at sideways and not at you all. James, I would also love to hear about a little bit more about that, because if you can access those endpoints via Power Automate, you can access them using AppScript as well. They're AppScripts or endpoints are endpoints, so it's just a matter of knowing which ones they are. So I would love to hear about that if you can shoot me a note, James. All right. Any other questions that I didn't answer while we're here? I'm kind of scrolling back to old messages, all the way back to the GIFs, just to make sure I didn't miss something. If you weren't here for the GIFs, they scrolled back to the top of the chat. We were bumping at the top here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, the documentation is a little bit trickier to find specifically on this stuff. That's why I think those two pieces that I showed off, that slide that showed kind of the flow chart and those two endpoints are really helpful. I'm seeing, in the UI, where do we find the system record ID? So the system record ID, I've found, at least with my accounts, is in a column that shows up by default, and you have to go to columns and you have to add it to your checkbox. You have to check the box and then it will show up in your list of columns. I'm not sure if that was answered for you, Carlos, but I'm kind of scrolling all the way back here. Okay, I'm going to go to the bottom. Anything new at the bottom, Troy? I'm scrolling all the way up just to make sure.
No.
Great. Awesome. Is the data you're using in the demo? This is a developer sandbox. Yes, it is. Other Troy. This is part of a developer sandbox. Yes. So I thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I really hope that you reach out, either scan the QR and fill out the form, shoot me an email, come check out the website. I'm really excited to share this with folks, but also I'm interested in what I didn't share and what you're interested in exploring more. So please follow back up. And if folks are hold off, I know Troy's gonna launch a survey here in a moment. If folks could fill that out, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's some people that were asking about Power Automate. It's probably Glenn Hudson's session that he did yesterday. I've heard a lot of internal chat about how good it was. So if you didn't happen to be one of the 200 on that, definitely go back and watch that one.
Awesome. That's great. And I'll hang out here while Troy launches the survey. And if anybody has any last questions, just let me know. Yes, the system record ID and the query ID are the same thing.
Let me see if I can get that survey.
Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing the energy this morning, folks. It was a really great way to start the day.
That is a good way. Yeah, fantastic session. Good job, Nick. Where in the heck is the survey? There it is.
Thank you all.
Launch survey. Okay, here we go. Yeah, give Nick some good scores. I think there's a prize in it.
Woo! All right.
You seen it?
We all launched? I don't know. I don't see it, but I don't think I would see it.
4 questions. Yeah, maybe we get.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Aurora.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to chatting with you all and seeing you at other sessions later on today. I'll hang out just in case for the last 30 seconds, in case there's another question.
That's right. Yeah, Goldcast does a nice job of counting down, doesn't it? 29 seconds. I guess no, 19 seconds. Yeah, thank you very much, Nick. That was fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.
Be well, all.